we will talk about string handling. String is a piece of text in Excel and lots of other languages and applications as well. So this being an excerpt from my book, it says we've previously mentioned that a piece of text is known as a string in VBA and other languages as well. Now what we're going to do is to extract bits of text from other text and concatenate. That means to join bits together and so on. So what do these strings look like? Well, I'll just start Excel and just give you an example of some strings. Here's a fairly common type of string. It's what we call comma delimited, so that we have a comma in between. The CSV file, you might have heard of those, is a way of storing data into Excel. Now you can split those up using text to columns. There's a facility for doing that when there's a comma in between, and it'll separate those text into individual columns. But what we want to do is to have finer application on this. For example, we might have a bit of text which looks like this, and we might want to extract from this just all these might be stock price tickers on the very left hand side, and this is like the buying price, and you want to extract all the buying prices and put them into a separate column, for example, that sort of thing. We do have limited applications within Excel itself. For example, if we just had a piece of text in individual cells and we want to concatenate them, well, in Excel we could just go equals that, ampersand is the concatenation operator, and then that would join the two bits of text together. We can also have Excel functions like left, for example. Left will extract the leftmost characters of a piece of text, so I could therefore take the left two characters of that. So these are all Excel functions, but what we want to do is to have a bit more fine-tuning and extract some data from it. For example, another example might be this. If we have this text here, series of, and we want to know, oh, is this an Excel spreadsheet or a Word document? And we could tell that from, of course, the extension on the end, the XLS or the DOC. So what we want to do is to extract the extension on the right hand side, and to be able to tell what sort of a document it is. Okay, well, let's just go right back to the basics of using VBA. So I'll just get rid of all of that for the moment, and now, as usual, we will make a button on the screen so we can insert. Don't forget, it's the lower lot, the ActiveX controls, that we can draw a button on there, double click, and that should bring up the code window, so to speak, which is more properly called the VBE, the Visual Basic Editor. It's a good idea to sort of bring this down a bit, actually, the Excel sheet, as we're not going to be using that interface much of it, but and then we can easily see the code being produced at the same as we go. So so for example, I'm going to do this entirely in VBA, so what I'll do is dim a string st1 as a string. Don't forget, we use small letters, and therefore when we capitalize it, it will show it correctly. So dim st1 the string, comma st2 as a string, and if I enter, you can see it's been capitalized, and we know we're on the right track. So if we say, therefore, we set one of these equal to a bit of text, say that, and then we can st1, that should be, so st2 is equal to another bit of text about, okay, and we want to join those two bits of text together. Well, as we did in Excel, we could just use the concatenation operator. So we could say st1 ampersand st2, and what am I going to do with that result? I might as well just put it into this cell over here for the moment. So that cell is called cells, I always spell that incorrectly, cells 1, 1, which is the top left cell, full stop value, which is the property of the cells, of course, and that's equal to that. And when I click away, it is wrong. Well, let's see what we've done here. Cells 1, 1 value equals st1. Well, I think I need to just, I'm getting a bit carried away there, so I need to put a space in there. Okay, so that when I click the button, can you predict what's going to happen? Well, as you can see, it's got the design on. Recall the design is for moving the button around and resizing it. So, and we've got the design up here is the easiest one to click at the moment. So if I click this, I'll take the design off, and then it will run the program. And can you predict what's going to happen? Well, if you click there, then can you see what's going to happen? You're going to have them concatenated and placed into that cell. Okay, well that's the simple concatenation of two. We've got, I'm going to just drag this text from my book actually, and then try the next bit of code, which is going to use the left. Well, left means we take the string, which is in this case house, we take the left two characters. So we take the string and then the first two characters to the left. Well, you can easily see what they are. So you might predict what's going to appear in this cell here, which of course is cells 2, 1, which is the left part of the string. What do you think is going to happen? It's going to give you the HO. We've got a corresponding function, which is right. If I try that, then that's going to, can you guess what that's going to do? In this particular cell here, it's going to take the rightmost characters of the string st1, which should be those two characters there. Indeed, that's what happens. Okay, we have in string. Now, in string is when we want to search for one piece of string inside the other. So in this case, where we've got our string, which is house, and we're looking for US inside that string. Well, US you can see is here, and so where does it start? And the answer is where that U starts there. And what do you think that is going to be? Let's click the button and find out. It's going to be position 3, which is the position of U. It's position of US, but it gives the starting point, which is the 3. We have also the length, well, let's talk about the mid string now. This is an extremely important function, the mid string, whereby we can extract a bit of string. Now, take a look at house here, and what we're doing is we're finding from position 3 the next two characters. Well, position 3 is here, right? And the next two characters, well, that means the U and the S. Let's see if that works. If I click the command button, yes, there you are. You see US is extracted. So this is, as you can imagine, is very important when you're trying to find strings inside other strings. We have also the length. Well, that's very simple. For example, if we take the length of st1, well, you can easily see the length of st1. There's st1 there. Notice how I just double click on that to get the actual text inside the inverted commas. And that gives the length, and as you can see, the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that when I click the command button, there you are, it tells you that the length of that string is 5. Okay, now we mentioned previously that an application of this might be that we want to find whether it's a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. Well, what do I mean by that? Let me just close this Excel spreadsheet, and I don't really want that anymore, thank you. Don't save. Okay, and now if I there's another book there. I'll just get rid of that. Now, if I were to want to extract the data here, as I say, I want to find out what sort of data, what sort of application that is, a spreadsheet. And I've actually done it here already, so I'll just take that design off and click it, and there you are. It tells you that's an Excel worksheet and a Word document and so on. So that's what I want to try and achieve. Well, what I'll do, I'll just go on to another sheet here, copy that, and then I want to, I'll go on to another sheet which, well, I've already pasted it there. Okay, that's fine. So I'll work on this sheet, and what I'll do is make a command, put a command button on here, and then I want to carefully go through through the programming from scratch. So I'll double click on that, and that I'll just bring that across. That's the right, and now I'm going to write my code in here, of course. So okay, well, let's just experiment with the top left cell. I can actually take that design button off at the moment. It will run. I'll just move my spreadsheet across. It's a good idea to have them both visible at the same time, which is quite a treat, really, being able to see exactly what you're doing. Don't have them overlapping, otherwise when you click on one it will obscure a bit the other one. So let's start off by finding that bit of text in there. Let's see, so this is going to be, we're going to dim a string, dim st as a string, not dim sim, thank you, as a string, and I'm going to now set that string equal to cells 1, 1, full stop, and then value. Okay, I could just see if that's working okay, actually. So what I'll do is put a breakpoint there, and then just run the code that we've got so far, and it should stop here. At the moment st is absolutely nothing, but if I continue along using F8, and then so that's worked just fine, extracting the first the 3 characters to the right. Well, then I can sort of distinguish if it's a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. But I'll just stop that. Let's see. I've got a bit of a problem, because you see here, if it's going to be, it might have 4 characters to the right. Now, how am I going to determine whether it's 4 characters to the right or not? Well, let me just talk. Well, what we need basically is mid. Okay, so what I'm going to do is to use mid, but before that, I need some sort of strategy, and the strategy actually is this. What we will do is to go through the text and look for the full stop, which is in this one is in position 4, and in this one here is actually position 5. So, and then what I'd like to do is to extract all the text to the right of the full stop. Okay, well, so I'm not going to use right. I'll just comment that out for the moment. I'll put a just come back to that. Now, what we need to do is to find the position of the full stop. So what I could do is dim something, a variable which will hold the position. We'll call it pos as integer, and then what I want to do is to use pos. In this case it would be position number 4, in this case it's position number 5. Let's see if that works. And the function that we're going to use to find that is instr, in string, and we're looking inside the string st. What are we looking for? We're looking for a full stop, which we can put in inverted commas like that, and so that is going to be our pos. So we'll put pos equal to that. Okay, now I guess I should see if that works as well. So if I now click on that and run it, pos will be nothing at the moment, and if I just which is going to be house, so let me just single step through here. Oh gosh, yeah, I forgot, sorry, we haven't picked up the string itself, so I need to start again and then stop that, uncomment that, and then okay, and then we can run that. ext is blank at the moment, but if I do an F8, then it's going to show me that it's well, what has it done? Well, first of all, ST you can see is the whole thing, no problem. But what has this done here? It starts at position number 3, in the string, which is the S, for goodness sake. And then it takes the next two characters. Well, you can see it's going to pick up the S and the full stop because it's two characters. What happens if we let me just change that a little bit. I think I'll start at the full stop, which is position number 4, and let's see what happens in this case here. Can you predict what's going to happen in this case? Well, let's run it and find out. It starts at position 4, which is the full stop, and takes the next two characters. The next two characters, can you see what they're going to be? Let's just single step by F8, and then that will give us, what does that give us? It gives us .x, so it takes the two characters from there. Right, well, question is, what happens if we leave out this bit at the end with the 4? So it's going to pick up on position number 4, which is where the full stop is, and you might say, well, what is that going to do? Well, you could have a guess. You could say it might just pick up the full stop, or the other thing you could say, it's going to have all the characters to the right, including the full stop, starting at that. Well, that in fact is what happens. They could have done the other and just taken one character, but okay, so let me just run that and confirm that. Click the command button. So it's starting, and I'll just single step that, and it picks up AXT, which is .xls, you see, so it's every character from then on. So this is makes MID sort of versatile. It is very versatile, and you can see that it's more versatile than write. Write just takes the few characters from the right hand side, and it's not used that much. It's not as versatile as MID, but you can see how XL functions are quite forgiving sometimes. When you could have a number in here, but you can also not have the number in there. It's really what we call overloading a function, and XL is very good at that, and it just works without any fuss. And it can take take 2 parameters, or it can take 3 parameters, as you wish. Very flexible language. Now, so what are we concerned with? We're concerned with finding the extension up here. Well, it's no use to say start at position 4 every time. What we could do is to start at position pos. Now, let's recall what pos is. Well, I could run it. Just to remind us what pos is. So if I click that down to here, shift, and we'll just F8, the F8 key, it then gives me that pos is 4. Well, pos, you'll remember, is the position of the full stop, and hopefully that would find position 5 if we use that bit of text. So what we want to do is to find all the text to the right of the full stop. Well, to do that, we're going to use pos somehow or other. Let me just stop that, take the breakpoint off. Now, so we're going to be talking about pos. Now, pos in this case has got the value of 4. Now, is that what we want? Let's find out. If I now run it, and then I'll put a breakpoint here so we can look at our values. Pos, oh, that's 4. That's okay. So if I look at this, it's EDS full stop, that position 4, and then I will then take from position 4 all of the text to the right. Okay, well, I'll just do an F8 on that and take a look at the value of ext, and there's our, oh, we've got a little bit more than we want. We've got the dot XLS. Well, we don't really need dot XLS, we just need the XLS. So how will we deal with that? How about if we see pos at the moment has got the value of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 in this cell here. We really want to start at position 5, and with this one here we'd want to start at position 6. Well, it's always one more than pos, isn't it? So what we need to do is just say pos plus 1 in here, and that should extract. Let's try it out, and then you'll find that it's what we want. It's dot XLS. Okay, well, so far we've got it working for one cell, which is cells 1, 1. What we want to do is to make it work for all of those. No, before we do that, I'll just make it work for that particular cell and just describe what that is. So what I'm going to do here is an if statement. I'll say if ext is equal to equal to XLS. That needs to be inverted commas, it's a bit of text, equals XLS, common mistake that, or ext, bit of nuisance having to repeat that like that, ext equals XLSM, then well, we could message box it out, what it is, what site it is, but what we'll do is I'll put it into the next cell across. Goodness me, I did say I always misspell that. Cells 1, 2, full stop value. Now, what does that mean? It means that we're going to put the result in here to the right of that. So it's row 1, column 2. Then it's going to be equal to, this is a Excel spreadsheet. Now that should work. Notice that if and then are always on the same line. Okay, and this is, we could break the statement up and use an if, end if, and so on, but that's fine by me, a one-liner. Okay, so if I now click that, there you are, it works. It shows you that that's an Excel spreadsheet. Right, well, let's build this program up. We're sort of building it up from the inside, if you like, because what we need to do now is to put this all into a loop. So what I'm going to do is to say for I equals 1, 2, 4, and obviously I need a variable for, but before I do anything I'd like to put my next I in. Invariably one forgets that, so let's do that as quickly as possible. And what I'd also like to do is to indent this, but just by highlighting and pressing the tab key. But before it starts complaining, I can put dim I, in other words, declare the I. Okay, now let's see what happens. Well, it's not, what we need to do is to loop down each of these like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, I equals 1 to 4, and picking up the value in the cell at one time. So we could change this. See, we're picking up here from cells 1, 1 here, 1, 1 being this cell up here. Well, we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4. In other words, it's going to be cell here. The row is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, which in fact is the value of I. But don't forget, we're going to put it to the very right hand side as well, so we need to say that I2, 1, 2, 3, 4 is I, and 2 is the second column across, so the result should appear in here. Well, we could try that out, see what happens. It didn't work for the other one. Now let's see why that is. Oh yes, you see, I'm in here. There's a mistake. That's supposed to be XLSX. Okay, well let me just try that again. There you are. So they're both Excel spreadsheets. Okay, well, what about our Word document? Well, that's quite simple. Let's get rid of that. What we need to do is to cater for a Word document. So what I'll do is do a control drag. Make sure you try and use that. It's a very useful little feature if you can just control drag. So if Excel is equal to, double click is another useful thing. It's to doc, to DOC, or it could be in here, DOCX, and then it's going to be cells. That's okay. But here we're going to, instead of an Excel spreadsheet, it's going to be a Word document. Okay, let's see if it works. Great, there you are. So that's one application of using of string handling and extracting data from a string.